What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Lukewarm Podcast with me, your host Shane. Yes, I know it's been quite a while, but I'm back, and I thought I'd come back with another guest because obviously you all don't like listening to me. So I've got the very talented, multi-talented musician with us today, Anchit Maggie. I've known Anchit since he was a little kid, but yeah, I'm going to give him the floor, let him introduce himself, and then we'll get into it. Go for it.
So I'm Anchit Maggie. I'm a singer-songwriter and a guitarist. Yeah, that's what I do. That is it.
All right, cool. So for all of you that generally view my content either on YouTube or on Twitch, you all would already know about him because I've promoted the living shit out of his music. But anyway, for those of you who don't know, Anchit has just released his EP. I think 28th May was the date that you released it. Links will be in the description. You guys can go and check it out. We'll talk about all of that throughout the duration of this podcast. But since you're music is your what you identify this as the most with, how would you say you got into music? Like what was that thing that pushed you into music and you realizing that yeah, this is something I'm good at?
It has always been in my family. My grandfather was a tabla player. My mother is not really a musician, but she loves music. घर में पूरे time it's just always on. My brother, is a musician. He was a drummer and a singer.
Yep.
So yeah, that's actually I started when my brother borrowed an acoustic guitar from Pratik Bhaiya,
Right.
a friend, and I did not let him play. Basically, I just took it and it stayed with me for like 3-4 years until I bought my own. Uh, but yeah, that's how it started with singing, and then my dada tried to teach me tabla, but it was too cool for me. Uh, so in ninth standard, I picked up the electric guitar, and that tab se it's been ever changing because I went from a guitarist to a singer songwriter again, something which I did not like previously. But yeah,
Okay, so let's just say like from this your main instrument would be a guitar, and I'm assuming the variations of the guitar. So what drew you towards the guitar over, let's say, the keyboard or drums, or of course tabla was too cool for you, but what drew you to the guitar?
so drums. It was basically like a guitar was something new in my family.
Okay.
Drums, my brother used to play. We had a drum set also, so I did used to play that a bit. I do know how to play a bit of that. But yeah, guitar was just something new that I thought I'd just give it a shot. It seemed very cool as an instrument. So yeah, I just took it since it was available at my home. A keyboard was not there, so I did not choose to go for that.
Right.
But yeah, just because of availability.
So if Pratik had a keyboard instead of a guitar, you would be a keyboardist today.
Yeah, 100%.
Fair enough. So moving on from instruments, the singer songwriter part, let's touch a little bit on that. So listen, we all think we have that talent of listening to a few Eminem songs and thinking, yeah man, I can rap and I can put together music. So how did you discover that, okay, I have this talent for being able to write songs, and not only just write songs but also being able to turn those lyrics into actual music? So what was your journey into that?
That was a lot of experiments and a lot of failed experiments because when I started, I used to listen to bands like Steven Wilson, Alter Bridge, Dream Theater, stuff like that,
Right.
because that's what I used to play in the school band. So I always wanted to write music like that. And at that time, like singer songwriters seemed very lame to me. They were like, what are you doing?
Mhm.
Uh, so I tried to write music like that, but it didn't really seem to connect with me. I wrote some songs, but yeah, they just seemed very meh to me. Then when I got into college, I started listening to more and more music because you're generally like exposed to a lot of music
Right.
when you get into the DU music circuit. So from classical to the most generic pop, you learn to appreciate everything and what goes on behind it. So that's when I started writing music the way I write it now. And eventually I shifted from writing lyrics first to writing lyrics last. So what now I do is I figure out the chord progression, I figure out the whole production, then I write the melody, and after that, when I've written the melody, I write the lyrics on top of the melody. So the
Okay.
lyrics come last for me now.
Right.
So yeah, it took a while, but now I'm here.
Right. Interesting. So obviously, I've listened to your music, and when people, generally when you have people in and around you who get into music, there's always this certain style or this certain, let's call it genre, that people go for. So what would you categorize the music that you make, and what genre would you put it into?
The two basic genres I would say is definitely singer songwriter, which is a genre in itself now,
Okay.
uh, which is also like indie pop, which is I would say is my second thing. This also came after a lot of experimentation, and I try to do rock, I try to do this and that, and I also will try to do that in the future as well. But I think if I were to generalize it, it would be indie pop or singer songwriter.
Right. Okay. Perfect. This is a perfect segue into my next question, because as you said, you touched upon, there's a lot of trial and error to get to where you eventually are right now. And
Yeah.
do you feel that, like, the experiments that you've done already, which you said have failed, do you think where you are right now, if you try to do those similar experiments again, they might come out different?
I think I might do a better job at it, but it's still not what I'm looking for now. I think those things I tried in order to get that, I do not want to get into that. Right. I just tried them and I was like, okay, this is not for me. Not that I don't try any of it now. I still have some unfinished songs that are of those
Mhm.
genres and that stuff. But yeah, I feel like something along the indie pop range is what I prefer to right now, and also um, generally what I prefer to listen to. Although of course it varies a lot.
Right. Of course. So I basically what I like to do on this podcast, right, especially when I have guests on, is like, I feel like just having two people having a conversation is okay. It's basically what a podcast is, but I like to, like, get some value out of what your experiences are, because as people will notice, that the kind of people that I get on the podcast are supremely talented people who are working in their respective fields, like what they're passionate about. Whoever I've brought on, they are doing amazing things in their field, and you are now absolutely killing it with the music. So the whole point behind this entire introductory, getting behind how you got to where you are, the trial and error, just one thing, like, what do you think that those failures are needed? They're like, obviously everyone knows you fail and you understand and you move on from that, but specifically in music or art based stuff, do you think that the failures push you really closer to where you are supposed to be, or do you feel like some people fail and then they're like, okay, I can't do it, but then in your case, like you said, you've done a lot of failed projects, which has now pushed you into understanding what you don't like or what you won't be as good as, and giving you a fair idea of what you're really good as?
100%. I think any art form is just a result of a lot of practice and a lot of bad art. Because if you start as a songwriter, you won't write a good song straight away, as a lot of songwriters say. Ed Sheeran says that you'll write 1,000 bad songs before you write your first good one.
Right.
So that is always the case with any art form. And yeah, I think like those are called failures, but they're more like steps to get where you want to be. Uh, but yeah, so I would say that if I had not done those things, I would not be where I am today. Not that I don't fail now. Even like failure is just a constant thing. That's why, like, for me, saying failure is fine, but a lot of people don't say failure
Right.
because uh, you know it's kind of a bad word. But even my songs right now that I released 6 songs, not all 6 of them have launched. Right, some of them have launched, some of them have not launched. So
Yes.
that's how it works basically. That's you go through the up and downs, and the ups come again and again.
Right. Perfect. Another thing, since you're saying, okay, since you've brought it up, let's not call it failures, let's call them stepping stones.
Yeah.
Okay, let's call them stepping stones, because see, a lot of people have this problem wherein they want to use them as stepping stones and be like, okay, I've done this, didn't work out, let me learn from this, move on. But then when you have continuous things that are not working out, right, people tend to feel discouraged, or they tend to feel like, okay, maybe this isn't for me. So have you ever been in that position, and like what do you do generally to push through that, feeling of, okay, maybe I can't do it, or I need to push harder? What do you tell yourself, or how do you pull yourself out of those situations?
So I am very lucky that way in terms of perspective. Yeah, I do feel that way maybe for a couple of hours, but mostly I'm fine with what I'm doing. It's like I have a lot of time. I'm 21. Things will work out. So it's just like, I just keep releasing music, the music I like, and hope that it gets an audience that likes it as well. If
Right.
it doesn't, oh well. If it does, great. So at this point, I generally don't care about the result. Of course, it's good to have a good result, and it's not that good to have a bad result. Sometimes it does get you, because it does take a lot of resources to release music. All
Yeah.
resources, mental resources, financial resources. So yeah, it can get a bit tiring at times, but it's just about sticking to it. In my opinion, consistency will get you everywhere.
Facts. That's true. So it's a lot like every other thing, to be fair. Of course, I'm not comparing, making music to just a general job or something else, but the attitude and the perspective is something that is, uniform across the board when it comes to anything. It's how you deal with things when they don't work out, and how you motivate yourself. So it's great, because perspective is one of the things I've also previously spoken about in one of the podcasts, and that, it's all good and fine to feel bad about something not working out, but you really need to pick yourself up really quick and move on to the next thing, so that you're not stuck on the failures or stepping stones. You move on to something better. So
Yeah,
it's great to hear that from you. I think Joe had the same thing to say as well, because obviously Joe's also doing dance, and
yeah.
kind of parallels both of your fields. But it's very interesting, because it's so easy to sit here and when things are working out and tell someone, perspective is everything. You, if things are going bad, just ignore it and move on. But when you hear more and more people who've constantly gone through stuff, things have not worked out, but then you seeing them now succeed, or move towards success, it's really fun. Because I say this a lot in my Twitch streams also. Yeah, I'm plugging my Twitch streams again. I stream on Twitch, guys. But yeah, I say this a lot on stream as well, that it's really great to see people around me who are doing things in the field that they're passionate about, because that gives me a little hope, that maybe something will work out in something that I'm passionate about too. And that's the same for everyone, because at the end of the day, everyone idolizes someone, right? Everyone puts someone as their role models, and no one ever sees the struggles that someone goes through to get to where they are. You only hear it, and then even then you're like, yeah, they got lucky, or yeah, fine, whatever, it's the things worked out for them. So it's good to hear, from the people who are actually going through it.
Yeah,
um
also, music is literally, quite literally, a job. So,
yes.
uh, like, you can go into any field that you want. You'll first do an internship, then you'll get a very low level job, and then you'll work your way up. And it's the same way with music. You're not just going to start off with a banger, although
Right.
some people have, obviously, but it's just a matter of time, and you just need to, like, go up little by little. And successful examples are always there of people who have made themselves from absolutely nothing. Of
Right.
course, a lot of people have had the backing and privilege to get to where they are, but those don't really matter, because they have a lot of successful examples as well if you want to really take a look at it.
Right, right. And touching upon this thing that you said about, jobs and all, let's move a little away from the music, because obviously I think we're very well established that you have chosen music as your path. You're going to put everything that you can. What if you didn't have music? What do you see yourself doing if, let's say, you didn't have music going for you? What would have been your path then?
So, it definitely 100% something to do with sports, because I absolutely love sports. And I don't think there's
Pain.
anything that I don't watched from. Yeah, exactly.
So much pain.
From from hockey to F1, I don't think I miss anything. So whenever I don't know what to do, I just put Hotstar on, and something or the other is coming on, whether it's badminton or anything. and I just love to watch that. I used to play a lot of table tennis, a lot of football, a lot of badminton, a lot of cricket. Now I don't do any of that, but it's very good to just watch. And I did a couple of preview shows in the IPL, and I enjoyed that a lot. So yeah, I feel like that would definitely be my calling if it wasn't for music.
Insane. So another something else which would revolve around a passion, which
Yeah.
again huge, man, because see, it's we, in the current situation that we are in the environments that we are brought up in, and because of the constant pressure of having to do something in life or show value in what you're doing, rather, it's so tough for people to follow their passions. Like, obviously it's amazing to see you're doing the music. I won't count myself as following my passion, but I'm trying, because even though as you said, sports for you, I wanted to get into sports as well, but it didn't exactly work out the way it did. But again, there's still a long way to go. You just got to keep pushing towards something better and making the best of a bad opportunity. Okay, let's move on to something a little more lighthearted. So you said singer songwriter. You weren't into that. Obviously, now most of your songs you do yourself. So what would you say up till date, up till your recent EP? Which song did you have the most fun? From writing to conversion into a song. Like, which song do you think is like your most favorite?
So I would say two songs. Uh, One I would just like to mention, which is Laparwa, which is my first ever Hindi song.
Yeah,
But no, not that.
banger,
But
banger,
yeah.
absolute banger.
Uh, so my two favorite songs are Ek To Is Never Yours, which was something, I don't know if I'll ever do something like that again, but it was extremely fun to do. And I was just trying to experiment bored in lockdown, and
Right,
that song just came up in about 2 hours of me doing anything basically. And I wanted to sound a bit like Tame Impala, but also have a guitar solo in there, and also do stuff like that. And also, my friend Aditya just made a brilliant animated music video for it, which I
right.
never expected. I told him to do a basic lyric video, and when he sent it to me, it was that, and I was like, "What the hell have you just done?" But yeah, so that song was, in my opinion, creativity at its peak, because it was very spontaneous in
Right,
terms of everything, in terms of making it, producing it, releasing it, the video for it. Everything just happened very quickly. And in fact, when I got the final master for it, my engineer asked me what to name it, and it was named IDK. So until I uploaded that song onto the website, it
right.
had no name. So yeah, in terms of spontaneity, I think Never Yours, and also Adhure, because
Yes.
Adhure started as a very basic ukulele and voice, just two things. But since I had time to play with it, I wanted to do something like Barfi, uska soundtrack jo hai.
Right.
So there are a lot of string sections and a light-hearted and a lot of guitars in the background. And at the end of it, I managed to succeed with it. So that was very fun to do in terms of producing it, because I had a lot of more string sections and all of that to it. So yeah, those two songs.
Right. So when you sit down to make a song, and when you start from, as you said, now you do the lyrics at the end. So when you like finish up a song, right, and you're ready to put it out there, do you ever think to yourself, okay, this song is really gonna do well, I feel it's gonna do well? Do you ever feel like that? Like, have you
Oh,
had
most
any
of the
feeling
time.
about all your songs like that?
Most of the time, you have to be confident in your own songs. I mean,
Right.
yeah, I do feel like that most of the time, but I also know that I have to be practical about it. So even if I feel like that, there is also a realistic standard that I have set, in terms of I never really get disappointed. So everything that comes is just good for me. So
Right.
I have that, because my first release, Figure It Out, was I think it had around 1,000 streams in 15 days, right?
Okay.
And I was absolutely like very happy with it. I thought that would never happen in a million years. And then Laparwa got
Yeah.
10,000 in 2 days,
Right.
and I was like, okay, this is never gonna happen in a million years. So it always just surprises me, and you have to keep a positive mindset about it.
Right. So now that you've brought up, streaming and songs, did you ever, when you were making La Parva, think that it would hit what, almost 300, 3 lakh listens? Do you
Yeah, yeah,
think?
yeah.
Did you think it
Uh,
would hit that high? I mean, 10, if you were stopping at that low for the other songs, are you still
yeah,
surprised by
exactly.
it?
Oh, 100%. I think so. That's the thing. I do give a lot of credit to luck and timing,
Right.
because obviously there are 1,000 musicians with even better songs that, and even I have better songs in my opinion that have not reached that level. But it's just about timing. La
Right.
Parva released when no new songs were releasing. The film industry was shut down. Indie artists were trying to get their music out, but I managed to do it very early, so it got placed in all of the major playlists on Spotify, right?
Right.
Which basically had no songs then. So that managed to really speed up the whole process. Of course, they got removed very soon because new songs came about.
Right.
But that really gave it a push that was needed to actually spread through word of mouth.
Right.
Many people don't realize it that uh, as an artist, you have to break through your basic audience, which is your
Right.
family
Right.
and friends of those people, right?
Right.
So that helped. La Parva really got boosted because of those placements, and yeah, I never expected it. And I have an app for artists of Spotify, and I can see the number of people that are listening to my music at any point of time, right? It just
Okay.
says a number there,
Damn.
and generally that is just 0 or 1 or 2 maybe, right? La Parva was 50 to 100 at a single point. So
Damn.
yeah, that was just amazing, and I knew that nothing like that will ever happen anytime soon, because that was just a product of timing. So yeah, I guess just got lucky, and yeah, I hope it happens again.
Yep, I know it will. I'm confident with everything we're listening to and everything that you're putting out. The efforts, rather. I keep saying this. I say this in a lot of videos also, and I say this on stream a lot also. Hard work and hustle never go to waste, and
Mm.
you might not get results immediately, or you might not get the results you want, but eventually everything falls into place, and you are rewarded for the hard work you put in. Which is why I keep saying to everyone who is doing this to continue and keep going and pushing on, because you will be able to eventually see those results.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about all the stuff that goes into you being a musician, all the work that goes into making a song. Now let's talk about performing. How do you feel about live stuff, like doing gigs or doing actual stuff in person? Where do you stand on that? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you think it's nerve wracking? What are you saying about that?
That's where I differ from, I would say, most musicians, because I am not a huge fan of performing live. I like to do it very, very rarely, because, in my opinion, I also would not like to see someone every week, right? I would like to see someone with a new set with the different sound, so stuff like that. So, for example, the show I did right now for my launch, which you also attended, that was after 3 years. I had not performed for 3 years, and that was the first time I did that in a long time, and it was very fun because I did it very
Right.
rarely. I feel like if I do it every week or every other week, it would just become a job instead of an event. And I do
Right.
want it to be an event when you play, right?
Right.
Um, and
Facts.
also, playing less guarantees a bigger crowd every time you play. And who doesn't like a bigger crowd to play with, like, right? So, yeah, I would say that I only do it when it's necessary. I don't like to do it for fun, because I don't
Right.
really have that kind of fun by playing live.
Right. So as you said, you did have the launch for your EP, and I did come for that. It was, to be fair, to be very fair, I'm not a very big fan of live music. Like, whenever I go out for an event, or if I'm ever at a food fest or any other fest, when there's live music playing, I'm not a big fan. Like, I don't go there and listen to music and be like, woo, having the
Yeah,
best time of my life. I'm not that kind of person. I like the music playing in the background, but I'm not there for the music, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
obviously, because there's a personal connection between us, so I was actually listening, and it was pretty vibey, not gonna lie. It was really fun. Fun in the sense that the fun that you were having, was coming off in the way you were performing. Like
Mhm.
you were interacting with the crowd, you were having your banter between each songs, not knowing what to say.
Yeah.
All totally added into, that entire the gig that was there. It was all part of it. Nothing felt off. Even when you were in the middle having a to and fro with someone in the crowd, or talking to someone, it felt very natural, and it felt very real. It was not like, हाँ ठीक है, he's just doing it for the sake of it. It felt fun. It felt fun. And to touch upon what you were saying, you are correct, because there are a lot of people that, other people that I've spoken to, who are like, we can't wait to do our next gig, and this week or 2 weeks later we're doing it here, 3 weeks later we're doing it there. And fair enough, if you like doing it,
Yeah.
you're going to do more of it. But the logic that you've
Yeah.
implied, is very true. It's very true. I'm gonna be real. That day there was no place to walk. Okay,
Yeah.
it was a packed house. It was packed. The stairs, people were stacked on the stairs, people were stacked on the seats. We had a random group of people come up and steal our chairs, but because they were a little elderly, we didn't say anything to them. But yeah, it was a vibe. It was a vibe. It was sold out. It was great to see the support that turned out for you. And I'm so glad you have that support, because
Yeah.
it's
Definitely.
huge. It's huge. Having people support you in what you're doing is, trust me, because I have a certain group of people who support me with my content creation as well. It is huge. And it's so
Yeah.
fulfilling to see that, people aren't just doing it because, they know you, or they're associated. They're doing it because they actually like what you produce. And I'll
Yeah.
be real with you, I don't listen to Hindi music. You know that very well. Everyone
Yeah.
knows that. So even on stream, when I was like, yo, listen to this music, they were like, yo, but this is Hindi. I'm like, yeah, so it's okay, I vibe with some Hindi music as well. I remember clearly, even now, I messaged one of my friends, like when I put up the story when you released your EP, one of my friends instantly replied on my story. He's like, yeah, you're promoting it and shit, and but have you actually listened to it? At that very moment, I had your music playing. I slipped down, took a screenshot. I'm like, yeah, I'm listening to it right now, bro. So it's huge to have that support. And that day coming in and seeing, so many people, family, friends there to support you, it felt good. It felt good knowing that, you have that support system behind you, because that is something that will on some days push you to do better. And it's huge, because there are a lot of people that I know who are super talented and, really good at their art, but they don't have the support that they need to actually
Yeah.
push it to a level where they can make something out of it. So that is huge. But yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely.
actually would
Yeah.
just like to point that out, because I am extremely lucky in the support aspect, because I don't think anyone that I've seen play live gets that kind of support from people they know. Right. My friends always say that whenever I perform in Piano Man, whether I'm a session guitarist or I'm a part of a duo where I'm not really
Mhm.
singing that much, every single one of my friends always turn up. And it's a running joke with my Delhi friends that their friends live 10 minutes away and they don't turn up, but my friends always do. So
Right.
I do have a very solid support system in terms of that. And uh, for example, even if I do a gig next time, I know that obviously not everyone can make it every single time, but I know that everyone would want to.
Right.
And that is a very nice feeling, because I know that people would like to see a show. And
Right.
not a lot of people have that. I've seen people do gigs where basically no one has turned up. So yeah, I'm very, very lucky to have that.
Huge. You are correct. So when are you doing your next gig then?
29 July at Deeper 48.
You heard it here. I shall promo it. I need a cut. I need a cut.
Definitely.
No. Obviously, we will do our best to be there. It's huge that you're already planning and moving into it. Great, the success that you've had with your EP launch. It's been great. I've seen the responses on the YouTube videos. I constantly keep pushing it on Twitch as well. I know a lot of people from my community have said to me that brilliant stuff. They really like your music. Some people have even added it to their playlist, which is huge, because again, see, me telling someone to do something and them just doing it out of because they were told to do it is something. But when people reach out to me and tell me, you remember that guy who you were talking about, he's got really good music, I feel good, because I'm like, okay, people are actually appreciating the talent on hand. So that's huge, and I'll continue to do that. I do it for almost everyone I know. Anyone who's doing something or the other, I tend to try and push out their content as much as possible, because it's part of the business, man. Like
Yeah.
you need a people, as you said, you need a lot of people. Obviously the support system you have around you, your family and friends, they are important, but to make your content go up, you need people outside that circle, because with them
Yeah.
you can only reach a certain level. To go beyond that, you really need more branching out from people, especially people who don't have any association with you, because then you know that it's genuine.
Exactly.
They like what you're doing, they enjoy what you're doing, they're looking forward to what you're doing. Not saying that people who are associated with you aren't, but it feels a lot more rewarding when someone random comes up to you and says, hey man, nice song, or hey man, nice
Yeah.
video. It does
Yeah.
feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So once again, it's going to be great to have another gig of yours to attend. I'm not paying this time, okay? I'm not
ठीक
paying
है,
this
okay.
time.
ठीक है.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All support to you. Okay, so we're gonna end for in a bit. I just got a few quick fire questions that we need that I need answers to. This kind of basically I do this because this is also another value addition that I like to give out to people through experiences. So tell me, what is the best piece of advice anyone has ever given you?
I would say that is just to keep at it. It's from Ritnika. She is a mentor to me in terms of music. I did a course in music business, and she was the teacher
Mhm.
where I did it. And ever since then, I have gone to her with every single question I have about releasing music, results, and everything of that sort. And she just always tells me, it doesn't matter what your results are, because sometimes you do need to hear it. Sometimes you do get bogged down because you work hard and you spend a lot of money and release something. And obviously, no musician ever earns anything back, so it's just a good feeling when people listen to it, and sometimes that also doesn't happen.
Right.
So it's a good thing to hear, to say that I know your music is good, it will reach there someplace, somewhere. So just keep at it, don't bother about the results. So I would say for every single creative person in a creative field, I would say that is just true. So just don't bother if no one turns up to your gig or no one listens to your music or anything. They will eventually.
Right. Great. So that's the best piece of advice you've got from someone. Now, let's say you have to give someone a piece of advice which is not that. What would you give?
Hmm. This is not quick fire because this is a really deep question for me. Uh, I would say, so. Okay, I'll give it specifically for musicians, right?
Right. Of course. Of
I
course.
would say, people release music for two reasons. One is for self gratification, which is you just do it for yourself and you do not care at all about what other people have to say or how it turns out into the world or anything like that. And that is completely fine if you do it for that reason. Do you? It doesn't matter at all what I have to say. But if you're doing it to make a career, then you have to think of it as a job and you have to think of all aspects of it. You can't just sit there, create music that you like, and then expect everyone to listen to it. You have to
Right.
market it right. You have to form a certain image behind it. You have to get people to listen to it, and you can't get upset if people don't listen to it. That's just because you haven't found the right audience yet. So it's just about it's sad kind of, but it's just about marketing yourself. The music almost does not matter.
Huge. Huge. That's actually very, very, very good advice, because it the same applies to content creation as well, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm learning over time that wanting to do what I want is well and good, but if you want to grow, you got to do what people want to see,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, yeah.
Until you don't wrap your head around, no one's saying go out and be cringe or go out and put out stuff that is absolute trash, but understand what is wanted, put your own spin on that, and then put it
Yeah,
out, and then see what happens. Then you get
exactly.
to actually see the results of what you're doing. And one final question, okay? So you said you're young, of course you've got time on your side. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, hopefully, I will be doing this music thing absolutely full time without any other job.
Right.
So yeah, let's see if that happens. But yeah, I do feel that 5 years I should do that if everything goes well and if I am consistent at it. So yeah.
Perfect. Consistency is key, man. And let's be real. I'll be very 100% honest with you. And this is biased aside. I think, as I said, you've put in a lot of hard work. You're literally down the right track right now. You're finding your feet with your music. You're finding what works, what doesn't work. And more importantly, you're finding an audience that wants to listen to you, which is, really important. So all I can say is all the best. I know that, you'll eventually get there, probably even before 5 years, in all honesty. And I hope, all I expect is you keep putting in the same levels of hard work, you keep putting in the same levels of commitment, and the people around you, if you all are watching this, watch it, give me views. But yeah, keep telling him he's doing a great job, and within 5 years you should be where you want to be, man. And once again, congratulations on the EP. It's huge.
Thank you.
Everyone, you can check out his music. I will link it in the description below. Listen to the music, form an opinion, follow him on Instagram. I'll put the Instagram links as well. DM him and say good job. But yeah,
Thank you. And also, I would just, before saying goodbye, I'd just like to put out a final warning kind of a thing. So I released Adhure, right? It was kind of a mood that I went into and I wrote those songs. But uh, my next release will not have songs like that. So I hope you keep an open mind and listen to different types of music, because my next release is going to be very, very different if it goes to plan. If my next release is actually what I'm thinking about right now, then it is very, very different. It's a completely different mood. So yeah, I hope you're open to that, and I hope you listen to it as much as you listen to Adhure.
yep. Great job, man. Thank you so much for taking out your time to come and talk to me on the podcast. I do
It was
appreciate
a
it.
pleasure.
And yeah, if anyone has any questions, follow-ups, drop it in the comments down below. I'll ask him. If busy man will have time, you'll reply. Otherwise, you won't. But yeah, man, thank you so much once again. And yeah, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Adios.